From out of space comes a runaway planet, hurtling between the Earth and the Moon, unleashing cosmic destruction. Man's civilization is cast in ruin.
Prophets and prophetic traditions the world over warn of cataclysmic earth changes that will soon be upon us.
The ancient Mayans had a sense that there would come a time, about in these times in which we're living now, that would include tremendous destruction. They speak about the day of the withered fruit and the great tempest, things that sound rather scary.
The Hopi speak of trees dying and dramatic changes in the weather that will bring in the great day of purification. Nostradamus speaks of the dead rising from their grave. And Prophet Mother Shipton warns,
storms shall rage and oceans roar, old worlds shall die and new be born.
As for Casey's predictions for the new millennium, they are as dire as all the other prophets before him.
Edgar Cayce made some extraordinary and spectacular Earth change predictions. Probably the biggest one was that the rotational axis of the Earth would change. And that's something that would be catastrophic, probably even beyond what we could imagine if that took place literally.
If the tilt axis of the Earth shifted slightly, the entire mass of the Earth would have to reconfigure itself. It would shift ocean basins, it would shift where valleys are, where mountains are.
Some of Casey's visions of that future were truly terrifying.
He speaks of Japan going into the ocean, inundations for southeastern United States, perhaps in a very slow way, but a permanent kind of inundation.
Casey also warned the East Coast would not be spared.
Portions of the now East Coast of New York, or New York City itself, will in the main disappear. This will be another generation, though. Here, while the southern portions of Carolina, Georgia, these will disappear. This will be much sooner.
He also suggests that Europe would change either geologically or climatologically in the twinkling of an eye.
Carlos Muñoz Ferrada, astrónomo, sismólogo y científico, por más de medio siglo ha impactado al mundo con sus pronósticos astronómicos y geofísicos. Muñoz Ferrada también fue el primero en dar a conocer la trayectoria y perturbaciones por las cuales pasaría el famoso cometa Halley en su paso por nuestro sistema solar. Él indicó que a último momento el cometa alteraría su velocidad y pasaría más cerca del Sol. Efectivamente, el 12 de febrero de 1996, esto se cumplió. El brillante cometa se adelantó 36 horas en su tiempo orbital y pasó más cerca del Sol, a 85 millones de kilómetros.
Luego de 59 años de investigación, este gran científico estremece nuevamente las bases de la astronomía moderna y a sus 90 años de edad rompe el silencio para revelar la trayectoria y las terribles consecuencias que muy pronto Hercolubus, o cometa planeta como él le llama, causará sobre nuestro mundo.
Algo muy interesante es que usted hizo un estudio y trazó con cálculos y con todo la órbita de este cometa planeta. Porque usted nos habla y nos dice que es cometa planeta porque su movimiento no es algo normal.
No.
Que tiene unas velocidades.
Es un cometa planeta porque tiene órbita elíptica como cometa y porque tiene gran masa.
Como planeta.
Como planeta. Yo lo llamo entonces planeta cometa. O sea, un planeta con cola.
Explica Muñoz Ferrada que este gran astro que se acerca cargado de energía cósmica no cumple las leyes de la mecánica celeste establecidas. Posee una órbita elíptica y viaja entre nuestro Sol y un Sol negro que se encuentra a 32 billones de kilómetros.
Entonces aquí en este gráfico usted nos muestra, en el gráfico, ¿verdad?, de que en este lado está la Tierra, la órbita de nuestra Tierra alrededor del Sol.
Sí, señor.
Y que él penetra en la órbita terrestre, aquí, pasando muy cerca de nuestro de nuestra Tierra. Entonces tarda
a 14 millones de kilómetros.
14 millones de kilómetros. Entonces acá usted en su gráfico nos presenta lo que es la estrella muerta o el sol muerto. En ese sol muerto él gira.
Aquí a 92 kilómetros por segundo.
Entonces, además de esos 92 kilómetros por segundo, él tiene otra velocidad, que es la más aterradora, ¿verdad? Que es la que se mueve muy rápido.
Tiene 3 velocidades, hombre.
Muñoz Ferrada confirma que este planeta viaja a 3 velocidades. Una alrededor del Sol Negro a 92 kilómetros por segundo. Otra cerca de nuestro Sol a 76 kilómetros por segundo. Y una tercera velocidad máxima.
Lo máximo lo tiene en la mitad de la órbita. A 300 kilómetros por segundo. O sea, 1/1000º de la velocidad de la luz.
Eso es rápido.
Pronto acontecerá un evento que permitirá que el Hercolubus pueda verse a simple vista.
Este cuerpo no va a pasar desapercibido, todo el mundo lo va a ver.
Y va a haber gran confusión.
Más que confusión.
Y le van a dar un sinnúmero de interpretaciones a este asunto.
Muchas.
Los astrónomos dirán que lo que se verá es Marte o cualquier otro planeta, pero en realidad es el Hercolubus.
¿Qué consecuencias sobre nuestro planeta?
Las más terroríficas.
Luego,
cada cual arrégleselas como pueda.
Muñoz Ferrada pronostica 3 grandes terremotos.
He calculado 3 puntos triangulados de alta sismicidad que se aproximan. El norte de la costa del Mediterráneo, Francia y España. La costa sur del Pacífico, de Valparaíso a Arequipa. Y Java, Sumatra y Borneo. 3 puntos. Estos puntos van a ser terremotos de carácter volcánico.
El Hercolubus causará devastadores terremotos y provocará una gran transformación.
El gran campo gravitacional que trae ese astro nuevo, que hace 13.000 años que no penetró y que 13.000 años atrás fue los tiempos de la Atlántida perdida, tiene resonancia y efectos que a los reflejos, que a la debilidad. Queda el gran cambio.
Ese gran cambio, el cual usted viene estudiando desde 1940, ¿verdad? Que viene estudiando ese astro. Van 59 años de documentación. Ese gran cambio es humano, además es a la Tierra, porque indica un cambio de polos.
Es geofísico y humano.
Geofísico y humano. Y se habla de que va a haber un cambio de los polos magnéticos de la Tierra.
Son tantas las cosas que lamentable la humanidad no está preparada. El cambio viene. La destrucción viene. Y, más que nada, afectará a la humanidad en su existencia, en su producción, en su subsistencia misma.
When NASA launched the Pioneer 10 spacecraft in 1972, it attached to it a golden plaque.
With this plaque, Pioneer carries a message to extraterrestrials about its home planet. Its symbols show the radio signature of our sun, where our planet is located, and what we looked like.
As Pioneer 10 journeys on beyond the outer known planets, the data it is sending back is also being used to seek a possible 10th planet. Indeed, a March 1992 NASA press release stated,
"Unexplained deviations in the orbits of Uranus and Neptune point to a large outer solar system body of 4 to 8 Earth masses on a highly tilted orbit beyond 7 billion miles from the Sun." In the past 2 decades, astronomers have joined the search to look for one more planet in our own solar system. They designate such a planet Planet X, meaning both unknown and 10th.
Maybe you wish to tell us in a few minutes the nature of those discoveries.
I'd be happy to, and you're absolutely right. And as a matter of fact, the date on here, I was just noticing, is 14 August 1978, which was just about 6 weeks after we discovered the fact that Pluto has a satellite. Once you have a satellite for a planet, you can determine how heavy it is. It turns out Pluto was very much smaller and lighter weight than we had thought, which meant that Pluto has no influence, no appreciable influence on the motions of the planets Uranus and Neptune. At that point, we voiced a hypothesis that this means that there is at least one yet-to-be-discovered planet in the outer reaches of the solar system, and this naturally led directly to you and your interest in what we're doing, and that's when you sent me this book.
You have then postulated the existence or the appearance in some time years ago of a celestial body which you, I think, named in that paper an intruder.
Yes.
Which may have collided with or somehow turned on their side both Uranus and Pluto.
It did a lot more than that, as a matter of fact. In that paper, we hypothesized that this intruder passed very close to Neptune, that it dislodged one of what we then think were many satellites of Neptune, and one of them became the planet Pluto. We actually think Pluto was an escaped satellite of Neptune. This will also take the orbit of Triton, the big satellite of Neptune, and reverse it. We'll take the orbit of the satellite Nereid and extend it outwards. We can produce all of the observed aspects of the satellite system of Neptune plus Pluto's orbit just with this one single intruding planet. Now, one of the things we did in 1978, having made this prediction that there was an additional planet, 10th or 12th, depending on your point of view, but it's the next one, we sort of put our money where our mouth was, as it were, and we went out and we started looking for this thing. We've been searching for 12 years for this thing. We've been able to refine the search area somewhat, get it rather narrowed down. We do our predictions based on the observed anomalies in Uranus and Neptune. We actually are currently looking down in the region of Centaurus, which is just south of the constellation Libra, but very close to the area that you've talked about.
I think, Dr. Harrington, you have a pretty good picture, at least in your own mind, of what we are talking about, a big planet, a small planet.
Well, if it is in the kind of orbit that we describe here, it would have to be a planet that would have a mass something like 3 to 5 times the mass of the Earth. This would put it intermediate between the gaseous planets like Uranus and Neptune and the terrestrial planets that we have in the inner part of the solar system. So if this planet turns out to be in a 3,600-year orbit, then its mass will be correspondingly larger. But we're talking about something it's a perfectly reasonable kind of planet. It looks like a good, nice planet, small enough that it's not going to be completely enveloped in gas, so it's perfectly capable of supporting life forms of one kind or another. This one here is a map of the solar system as we know it. The inner planets, this is the orbit of planet Pluto, and this here is the orbit that I have proposed for the 10th planet, and here's where we think it is right about now in its orbit. This is your orbit for the planet, and showing that it would come out of Sagittarius in biblical time, and that once you allow for precession, it would be around into Libra by now.